History of the Jefferson Nickel. 1955 begins with the story of a nation stepping into the mid-20th century where economic recovery, cultural shifts, and post-war progress were shaping the identity of the United States. The Jefferson Nickel had already been in circulation for nearly 2 decades by the time 1955 arrived, but every year carried its own characteristics, its own minting challenges, and its own place in numismatic history. The 1955 Jefferson Nickel is a coin that stands as a reminder of the period when the U.S. Mint was transitioning between earlier wartime demands and the growing needs of a booming post-war economy. While the Jefferson design created by Felix Schlag in 1938 remained unchanged, the minting environment in the 1950s was influenced by industrial developments, modernized equipment, and the ever-increasing demand for reliable coinage. The Philadelphia Mint was the primary producer of the 1955 Jefferson Nickel as the Denver, and San Francisco mints did not strike nickels that year. This makes the 1955 issue unique because collectors only have one mint mark option. The absence of multiple mint locations is an important historical marker since it reflects the mint's strategy for production efficiency during the mid-50s and reveals that coin demand was being balanced through selective mint operations. During 1955, the United States Mint faced challenges in keeping up with coinage needs across different denominations, even though production levels for the nickel itself were relatively stable. The 1955 nickel mintage totaled over 7 million pieces, which today is considered low compared to many other years in the Jefferson series. As a result, the 1955 Jefferson Nickel has become a coin that collectors appreciate for its scarcity relative to surrounding dates. Another major part of the story is the design of the coin itself. The obverse continued to feature the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson with the inscriptions Liberty and the year 1955 along with the motto, "In God We Trust." The reverse presented the famous Monticello building, Jefferson's home in Virginia, along with the inscriptions Monticello 5 cents, United States of America, and the motto, E Pluribus Unum. This design had become familiar to the American public, symbolizing stability tradition and the country's admiration for one of its most influential founding fathers. The year 1955 is also remembered for the overall improvement in coin striking quality, even though some weak strike areas still appeared on Jefferson nickels, especially around the steps of Monticello. The full steps designation, which collectors seek today, refers to a sharply struck reverse where the steps of Monticello are fully visible and separated. In 1955, finding nickels with clear, crisp steps is challenging, making high-grade full steps examples far more valuable and sought after. The social and economic landscape of the United States during 1955 also adds depth to the history of this coin. The country was experiencing growth in infrastructure, education, and industry while entering a new phase of global influence. The nickel was used daily by millions of Americans for transportation, candy, newspapers, and other small purchases. It quietly moved through the hands of factory workers, office employees, soldiers, families, and students, becoming a part of everyday American life without drawing much attention to itself. Year 1955 was also a transitional moment in American politics and culture with the emergence of rock and roll, early civil rights movements, and advancements in technology. The Jefferson Nickel circulated during a lively era, reflecting the nation's dynamic spirit. The minting of the nickel may seem small in comparison to larger historical events, but every coin produced in that year became a witness to these transformations. As years passed, the 1955 Jefferson Nickel slowly left circulation, with many being worn down through decades of use. Some survived in coin collections, bank bags, and private holdings preserved by those who appreciated its historical and numismatic significance. Today, collectors view the 1955 nickel not only as a mid-century coin, but also as a chapter in the long-running Jefferson series. It holds historical weight because it represents a year with limited mintage, a single mint location, and distinctive characteristics that appeal to enthusiasts around the world. The 1955 Jefferson Nickel symbolizes the craftsmanship of the era and the vision of a nation honoring the legacy of Thomas Jefferson through its coinage. It stands as a reminder of how even simple everyday objects like coins capture the spirit of their time, quietly documenting the past as they move from hand to hand across generations. The deeper history of the Jefferson Nickel 1955 connects not only to the events of the year, but also to the evolution of coin collecting in America during the mid-20th century. By the 1950s, the hobby of numismatics was growing rapidly. Coin clubs were forming in small towns and major cities. Collectors were trading pieces through mail correspondence, and new price guides were being published that encouraged people to study mintages, varieties, and coin conditions. The 1955 Jefferson Nickel entered this expanding collector world at a time when Americans were becoming more aware of the value of preserving coins from circulation because many had learned from the scarcity of earlier series such as the Buffalo nickel and barber coinage. This increasing interest helped ensure that at least some portion of the 1955 nickels were saved in better condition shortly after minting. During the same period, the U.S. Mint was working to enhance production consistency and reduce striking problems that had sometimes affected earlier Jefferson nickels. Improvements in planche preparation, die polishing, and machinery calibration were underway, although perfection was still years away. These gradual improvements meant that while some 1955 nickels still show soft striking on Jefferson's hair and Monticello steps, others exhibit sharper details, providing modern collectors with a range of quality levels to evaluate one fascinating aspect of studying. The 1955 Jefferson Nickel is understanding its place among transition years that show subtle design changes. Promotions, debates, and technical developments in the Mint often led to small modifications to the hub used to create working dies. During the mid-50s, adjustments were made to details such as lettering thickness, relief depth, and the sharpness of Jefferson's portrait. Although these changes were not dramatic enough to create obvious varieties, they reflect the ongoing effort to achieve a balance between durability and appearance. Another layer of history comes from the metal composition of the coin. The 1955 nickel remained at the standard alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which had been used before and after the wartime silver alloy years. Many people do not realize that the copper-nickel blend used in the Jefferson series was chosen not only for durability, but also for its resistance to corrosion, making it ideal for a coin that endured heavy everyday use. The metal composition ties the 1955 nickel to a long tradition of American 5-cent pieces meant to last decades in circulation. The minting year also reflects the economic priorities of the United States in 1955. As industries expanded and consumer spending increased, the need for reliable small-denomination coinage grew. The nickel played a crucial role in vending machines, bus fares, payphones, school lunches, and small retail transactions. It was a coin that connected everyday Americans to a rapidly modernizing commercial environment. In this way, each 1955 Jefferson nickel acted as a tiny economic tool, enabling business and convenience in a nation on the rise. The historical significance of the year also reaches beyond economics. The Cold War influenced nearly every part of American life during 1955, including government policies, technological advancements, and military readiness.